Those of you who've been around this channel for a while are familiar with the content and know that for many, many years, I put forth a great effort to educate not just women, but men that they want to be in partnerships with and men who are trying to get into a partnership with a woman on how to make that happen. Lately, there's been, well, actually within the last 2 weeks, there's been a couple of very interesting articles that have come out and responses to them that went viral on the internet. The first was by a guy, Dr. Matos, where he talked about the rise of lonely single men. We did a show on that, a little YouTube video last Sunday. You can find that on the channel, and the title of it is "The Risks of a Society of Lonely Single Men." So we go into more statistics and talk about the 5-letter groups and the dangers of those guys to women. But I came across another article that was a follow-up to that, written by a young LCSW named Leah Aguirre, I believe it is, Aguirre. I'm not sure how she pronounced her name. But in her article, it's entitled "The Rise of Empowered Single Women, What Women Want from Single Lonely Men." She discusses some of the things that women were looking for in men that weren't there, which is the same thing that we talked about in our video. Many of the ladies that were listeners provided their insight and their ideas for what would make a better approach from guys and make a better relationship and just create the environment that would make a woman want to be with a single guy. So she says until recently, modern dating has been imbalanced, that women have been programmed to believe that their value and worth are conditional and reflected by their relationship status. That's true. A lot of women feel that they have arrived once they become engaged or they're married, and they'll throw that at other women, like, saying things like my husband all the time, or, well, at least I got a man, that kind of thing. And they will tend to stay in relationships that are unsatisfying, even to abusive levels, because they don't want to be single because of this conditioning that she's talking about. So I totally identified with what she was saying. Then she goes on to say, media, including dating, self-help literature, has played a big part in this, encouraging women to change various aspects of themselves, their personality, their physical appearance, and their communication style to be more desirable to men. In that reference, we can associate this to the rise of the femininity channels, especially here on YouTube. These ladies are trying to promote a return to the 1940s as far as women empowerment and women's choices and women speaking up and doing things for themselves. It's very interesting. So she says, I have seen this social programming impact women in their pursuit of dating and relationships time and time again, leading many to feel like they must play the game to be successful and find a mate. That's for the women whose success is based upon them being in partnership with a man. No matter what kind of success they've achieved educationally, professionally, financially, somewhere deep down inside, they still feel like a failure because they're not in a partnership or they're not married. So a lot of women feel hopeless when they hear this kind of thing and guys know it. And when they want to really crush you, one of the first things they'll say is, that's why you're single. You'll never get a man. You're going to die old and alone with cats. However, the reality is that there's a change. That being unpartnered and being single doesn't bother women like it used to. Why? Because women don't really need men. They want them in some instances, but they don't need them. And this desire to do what they want to do and be who they want to be is growing in younger and younger women. Their parents aren't brainwashing their daughters to think that this is what you have to do to be recognized and identified as a woman, that you need male validation. So what this means is there are a lot of women now whose approach to relationship is completely different. They don't feel like they need a man. I mean, he's nice. I mean, it's cool. It's, frosting on the cake, but they want to be their own cake, and they don't want to have to look to a man to validate them or make them feel like they're important and worthwhile. Now, what's happening, though, is on the other hand, Men, as women change and women are recognizing that they can do and be things independent of a relationship or a man, it's changing the power dynamic in relationships. It's changing a lot socially. That's why men are pitching around, men in power are pitching around to change laws to kind of suppress women again. They want to take away your right to even control your own body. You can't make decisions about what you want to do with your body. Some man somewhere in some office is going to make that decision for you. It's a very interesting thing, and it's like shades of Handmaid's Tale. It's just really bizarre. But whatever, we're not really talking about the politics of this right now. We're talking about the social impact on women changing their perspectives. So as women become more independent, they don't need men for basic life necessities such as money and housing and food and clothing. They're providing those things for themselves. So all of those traditional roles that men are clamoring for are being pushed aside by women who don't want that anymore. Of course, there's certain things that they do want, and I'll provide you with Dr. Aguirre's list in a minute. She has 10 things. But women are not looking for a man to be, quote, a provider. Now, there are some who do insist on doing that. We're not talking about them, though. We're talking about the majority of women who enjoy working. They enjoy going to school. They enjoy having their own business. They enjoy doing things that don't involve a husband or children. We're talking about those women right now. Those women are on the rise. So those women, if they do want some kind of relationship, what they're looking for is a partner. They're wanting someone to stand beside them, not to be in front of them, leading them. They're not looking for a man to submit to. They're not looking for a relationship full of sacrifice and service. They're looking for a man who's going to meet their needs, and women's needs are no longer basic survival needs like men are used to and prefer. When a woman is meeting her own needs for survival, her requests from a man and her demands from him are completely different. And men today are resentful of those demands because it's requiring that they give stuff of themselves that many of them don't even have to give. Ergo, the reason why so many of them are single and lonely. It's very interesting. I mean, I can't even describe my peak interest in this enough. But let's go over some of these ideas that men have said that they want. They want someone who's going to be, quote, traditional, right? They want someone who's going to cook and clean and provide them with bedding services on demand and not talk back and submit to him and have children and be a good mom and all that. And in itself, like I said, I'm not saying anything is wrong with those things. What I'm saying is the number of women who want those things is decreasing, and it is decreasing rapidly, and men need to adjust their expectations of a wife in a relationship and even of a girlfriend if they want to have a female partner in their life. That's what I'm saying. Women have changed. Men need to change too, or they're going to be left behind as they've been doing, as what's been happening. So what does she say that the 10 things are, Miss Leah Aguirre? The 10 things that women want according to her are we want to be treated as equals. Men seem to take the bum types, as being equal in paying for dates and driving and doing all that. That's not what that means, sir. That means that her voice in the relationship is equal to yours. Her opinion is equal to yours. You're not going to make dictator type decisions just because you feel like you're the man of the house. You see your wife's input as valuable and important, and that her emotional assessment of things is just as important and just as valid as your alleged mental one. That's what that means. That you don't just try to put her down and make her seem like she's a less than because she's not a man. That's what that means, okay? Then number 2, we want to be seen and we want to be heard. Exactly. But I didn't realize that was our number 2, but just as I said, that's what women want. We want you to hear us. We don't want you blowing us off and feeling like because a woman said it that it's not important to listen to. Because a woman does it, it's stupid and dumb. It's not important. Her third thing, we want our feelings to be respected and validated. This comes up a lot when you run into men who are basically misogynistic narcissists. They think that the only thing that matters on this whole planet is what they think, even more so than what other men think. And as you being a woman, you're just a mere girl. Your daughters are mere girls, and your women are mere women, and they don't count. Our voices and our needs don't count. So many women have gotten this message that they believe it, which is how all this trans stuff and men coming into women's bathrooms with a wig on and a dress that they picked up out of the Salvation Army has happened, because so many women did not stand up and fight for their rights and to protect themselves and their daughters from this trash. So it passed because women feel that they've been programmed to think that they don't need to be listened to or respected. That's how that happened, ladies. Her point number 4, we want to feel safe and supported. Yeah, I mean, why would your ideas and your goals be dismissed? Why are women always expected to sacrifice what they want and their dreams and their wishes in favor of other people's? The safety feeling is definitely not there. It's all over the world, women don't feel safe anymore. Even at home, they don't feel safe. They're walking on eggshells. They're scared to share their opinion because of what he might say, or he's going to flip out and call them names, or they can't even walk up and down the street without some guy trying to harass them or, enforce himself on them in some way or demand things from them, like to smile. Her 5th thing, we want to share core values with our partners. That's going to be on us, though, ladies. You need to spend more time when you're dating instead of going out looking around and talking about how cute he is and looking at what he has in his wallet and how well he can, quote, provide. Those days are over. You're providing for yourself. I mean, you guys can provide better when you join forces, most certainly. But you're not looking for a man to take care of you. At least you shouldn't be, not in 2022. What you're going to have, though, is someone who shares your values. Your values are what you think about family, what you think about having children, how you will raise those children, how you will treat extended family, how you value education, how you value family time. Or are you more of a workaholic? How you treat friends, what you think about gifts and holidays, those kind of things. Religion may come into play there, too. You're also looking for a man whose value is to respect and listen to and admire women. You don't want one who calls women the B word or the C word or the S word or the W word. You don't want a guy like that. That's a conflict of core values. And when a woman stays in a relationship with a man like that, she's going to have problems. Point number 6, she says, we want to have the flexibility to have multiple identities instead of being confined to one box, i.e. wife, mom, and caregiver. That's true. And it also, another flip side of that is we want to be able to choose freely without guilt, blame, or being castigated for it. Either one of those or none of those. Just because we're female does not mean we have to breed. Just because we're a woman doesn't mean that we have to like men. Just because we're a woman doesn't mean that we want to be married. Just because we're a woman doesn't mean that we want to do anything that anybody expects women to do, like cook and clean and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of women that take great pride in the fact that they don't know how to cook and not trying to learn. So it's very interesting. Number 7, we want to be part of the conversation regarding negotiating roles and expectations within the relationship. Exactly. Don't think that just because I'm a woman that I have to do this, that's, quote, woman's work, and that you are off the hook because you're a man and that's not what men do. Oh, no. You live in this house, you're going to roll up your sleeves and do at least half, if not more. Because women carry the emotional workload. We have a video on that on this channel too. The emotional labor of relationships, which is not really tangible. Washing dishes is tangible. Changing diapers is tangible. Vacuuming floors is tangible. Going grocery shopping is intangible. Buying gifts and going to the hospital to visit people and taking kids to birthday parties and pitching in at PT&A and making cookies for the things and tucking kids in and taking care of 6 children, singing them stories and stuff and talking to your mother every week to make sure she's not lonely and hanging out with your family because they want to see more of her to get to know. I mean, all of those things that women do, they take up women's time and energy, but they don't really get any credit for it because men don't see it. It's not something that you can lay out on the table and count. measure way. It's an invisible benefit to the relationship and to the extended family as a whole. Number 8, we want to have productive and honest conversations and healthy disagreements. Yes, no gaslighting, no stonewalling, no lying, quarter cutting, pretending, holding back information. You're going to be open, you're going to be honest, and the conversations we're going to have are going to be dealt with in a way that resolve the problems. So we can move on. We can put that behind us. We don't need to keep bringing this up over and over again. And healthy conversations also mean once you do put it down and it's dead, okay, it's over. You're not going to bring that up 3 years and, remember that time when you did. We're not going to do that. That's counterproductive. Number 9, we want to establish mutual trust. That's the hard one because it starts with the little things, dudes, and they don't seem to understand that. If you say you're going to call her at 7 o'clock, that phone better be ringing. If you say I'm going to pick you up at 2, you're going to be Johnny on the spot, if not earlier. Sitting there waiting for her to come out while she finishes up her makeup or something. If you promise that you're going to come over and help her mom pack up boxes and move to the retirement home, well, then you're going to show up. You probably going to bring a friend or two with you to make the job go faster. If you tell her that you're taking wedding vows and you're going to cleave only onto her, you don't go make a profile on a dating site. You don't try to have an affair with somebody at your job. You don't flirt with her friends. You don't do anything that breaks her trust in you as her husband or whatever partnership you two have. You don't do that because you made a commitment. And the final one on her list is we want to feel emotionally connected to our partners. So men who are emotionally unavailable, men who lock themselves away, men who don't want to have intimate conversations with her, sharing their feelings, letting her get to know who and what they are as a man, telling her about what's going on in his life. If she has some input, he listens carefully and says, that's a good idea, babe. I didn't really think of it that way, blah, 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 blah. And so, it doesn't mean that he has to do what she suggested. He just appreciates the fact that she cared enough to listen, and then he listens to her as well. So women are, in total, women have changed. Like I said, women are more and more getting in touch with their worth outside of a relationship, outside of a partnership with men. They know that they, just by themselves, will bring something wonderful to this world and all of humanity. They may not know what yet, but they know that they have that capability. And they don't want to settle. They don't want to settle for a guy who's not going to meet their needs, the needs that they have now, not the needs that their mothers had and their grandmothers had just for basic survival. These chicks are meeting their own survival needs. Dudes, you got to come to the table with more. You have to come to the table with your heart. You have to come to the table with your willingness to listen, with your feelings. You got to give her something from deep within yourself. And if you're resenting the fact that you're going to be required to do that, and you're going to sit around lamenting the days of old, you are going to continue to be single and lonely. Women are not going backwards. It's not going to happen. So stop fighting it and just change who and what you are to match where women are. And then you can have a happy relationship and a happy wife. There are at least a dozen other videos on this channel that you can reference. We did the one last week. What did I call it? Oh, the risks of society of lonely single men. There are also some videos on here that were done as long as 7 years ago, entitled things like Women Don't Need Men and They Never Have, Survival of the Fittest, Why Men Are Unsuccessful with Women and Fail. There's one done 5 years ago called Invisible Men, The Men Women Ignore and Reject, and Why Women Don't Want You. In July of this year, there was one done called Women Don't Appreciate Good Men. That was from a question by a male submitter. And then April, there was one I answered a question, why am I husband material, from a young man. There are several videos on emotionally unavailable men that are good for men and women. And then there was one done 3 years ago called Get the Girl, Social and Dating Skills for Lonely Single Men. All of these are available here on this channel. Just go to the top of the channel search bar where it says search this channel and type in any of those channels. I'll try to get around to putting links in the show description below, but in case I forget, there you go. That's what you need. Let's see you guys rise to the occasion, okay? I hate to see so many men alone. You can have a happy relationship and a lovely family that you can be proud of, but it's going to require you to dig down deep and make some changes. Talk to you later. This is Deb Cooper signing out.